Well, you saw that the interviewer by that extremely handsome interviewer, as you previously mentioned. A lot of the theme of the conversation was playoffs, because that is the expectation that's been set for Origen. And as far as Rogue goes, no one wants to be the team that can't win an LEC, so they're looking to pick up their first win of the split as well.
Exactly.
We'll see whether or not today is the day.
Have to wait and see. Origen on the blue side, Rogue on the red. Nocturne and Ezreal bans coming out from Origen. Cassiopeia and Akali from Rogue. Aatrox banned. Still things like the Urgot left open.
Finally, someone's banning Aatrox. I thought I was going crazy thinking that this was a power pick in the current meta. It slipped through both drafts, not banned, not picked. So, yeah, okay, we're seeing Urgot is still being open here. Wouldn't be surprised to see that being the first pick. There it is, as Alphari hovers it. It's one of the more versatile champions in the game. Obviously, flexing is really important right now in the current meta, in the current draft. And yeah, Urgot, as far as it goes, is the most well-rounded and easiest and safe one to pick line.
Yeah, the flexibility to take it on Alphari or even on Nukeduck. Hasn't played it yet this split, but Nukeduck has such a wide champion pool that you have to expect he'd be able to do it. And immediately, Sylas is going to get locked in here for Rogue. So they're saying, okay, he's being released. He's got a pretty strong kit. We'll chuck him out there, see what sticks.
We'll see. They must not seen the first game of the day if they still think that Sylas is a good
but they
champion.
know that you don't take arcane comment on Sylas tops. So.
Well, you know, I feel like, that was a suboptimal game, we'll put it that way. But, oh gosh, we've already got the Draven Morgana bot lane locked in as well. And that's going to be a blind Draven as far as the wide carry going up against. However, when you have Lucian off the table, Draven is quite an important pick. A lot of teams will actually ban the Draven away if you're playing versus someone that can play the Draven, especially if Lucian's not open, because it's the only one that can go toe-to-toe. So right now, Rogue have already got a bot lane that's going to be struggling heavily. Morgana considered a counter into Alistar as well, and just a very aggressive bot lane, and Origen can definitely look. They've got two strong lanes already set up in that Urgot and that bot lane.
Yeah, and we've seen so consistently Rogue's bot lane be one of their weakest points. Heaq falls behind in lane, so give Patrik something he can carry from that bottom lane on. And it's what we tend to see from Origen, which is a strong bottom side of the map. Their AD carry support is always where they prioritize in this pick ban phase. We are getting through to the second rotation of bans. Sejuani taken away by Rogue, Olaf removed from Origen, so very much junglers getting pinched out.
Yeah, well, junglers haven't been picked yet, unless the Sylas is going to be a Sylas jungle for Kikis. Would not be that surprising, considering the type of player that Kikis is. Not afraid to innovate, a very aggressive jungler as well. Sylas does struggle a little bit into tough jungle matchups. Okay. If you're playing versus a strong duelist, for example, you'll have to concede a lot of your jungle pressure. So I would be a bit surprised, honestly, if Rogue were to take this as the jungler, when you still have people like KhaZix and Zinzao open.
But it's the power of flex picks, isn't it?
Exactly, but this is it. It's a bit of a mind game, and you don't know 100% what's going down here. I would assume it's probably going to be a solo lane Sylas, but for now, jungler's been taken off the board. You've got Xin, you've got KhaZix, like I mentioned before, still available here. But honestly, not a whole lot is up on the board right now.
Yeah, I think you have that flexibility with the Sylas and with the Urgot that really this second phase of bans, there's no point pinching a jungle, a top pool or a mid pool, so you pinch out the jungle. Lissandra just one of those incredibly strong picks with the Aftershock. We've seen it work so well in previous games. So now Rogue will probably look towards, I want to say they'll look towards picking their jungler, because you want to leave the flexibility of top mid with the Sylas open, and that's exactly what it's going to be. Good KhaZix prediction.
Bit of a blind KhaZix can be a bit risky though, is weak in those first 6 levels. So I would, you know, the Xin matchup is a really interesting one. It's often considered a counter to Xin, the KhaZix is, but I think, you know, if you play it properly in the early game, you have strong enough lanes, and you can absolutely run over KhaZix. Just want to touch on the bans a little bit here though. Rogue opting to ban that Gragas. We're assuming that's the jungle pick. It could be a ban over, well, even though Morgana's been picked, could have been for that Mithy. Maybe get rid of his.
We're seeing quite a lot of invention here. We've got Sylas on one side, we've got Nunu on the other side. Only seen Maxwell bring that out as far as I remember so far in the LEC.
But it is one of those picks that's rising in prominence, especially the jungle role in general is turning into a bit more of a supporty role. Especially on the next patch, you'll probably see that. You'll be seeing a lot more of the Ivans and stuff like that.
So how does, we'll talk a bit more about it in picks and bans, but the KhaZix Nunu matchup is one I do want to break down. Now we have the Syndra locked in for Nukeduck in that mid lane. Rogue probably looking towards a mid lane counter of their own. I doubt it will be Lux. Although, as Reddit likes to say, if she was released today, she'd be the most overpowered thing in the world.
Reddit says a lot of things, right?
It does.
Zori wouldn't be a bad one here. I think the Syndra blind pick is something we've seen a few times in professional play. It's one of those that is relatively safe, especially if you have not got a losing jungle matchup, so you can get a little bit of help. And it is going to be that Zori, so Not a bad matchup for either one of these two mid laners. Nukeduck with his champion Ocean, I'm sure knows how to play into pretty much any matchup that goes down. And it will be that Sylas in the top lane, which is a little bit... it's unsurprising, although I am going to be slightly worried for him because Urgot is a tough laner to play against.
Oh, it definitely is.
And we already saw in that first game, Jace. I think, maybe Jace is harder to play versus, but it was Sylas into Jace, and Sylas got absolutely blasted in that lane. So I think that, it's another tough one, but we'll see what happens this game round.
Yeah, I think our main early game discussion is going to be around the jungle pathing, what these junglers do in the early game, and then around that top lane as well. Because as soon as you have someone like Sylas come onto the Rift, you have to just break down exactly how he approaches his gameplay. But generally, let's have a quick talk about what these teams are trying to do. To me, if you look at the side of Rogue, they've got quite a lot of pick potential with the Zoe, with the Chain of Corruption as well.
Yep.
Their team fight's relatively good. And then on the side of Origen, it just feels like you've got a couple of frontline tanks with a lot of damage behind it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tough because the jungle pick from Rogue, the KhaZix, is he'd look to use his early game strength against the Nunu, but it's very hard to do that when you have both your side lanes are most likely going to be losing lane. Like Urgot should beat Sylas, and Draven Morgana will absolutely beat Varus and Alistar unless something catastrophic happens down there. So we'll see. Like mid lane is really the only lane that Kikis can play around. The Kikis is a very good jungler. Let's not forget, at the end of last split, at the end of the summer split last year, he basically carried Vitality into playoffs.
Took them to Worlds, where they beat RNG, where they beat Genji.
Yeah, they were very... Kikis is not far from being one of the best junglers in EU.
I definitely agree with that. Not currently in standings position, of course, sitting at the bottom at 0-6-4 Rogue, and they will think of this probably as a must-win game.
0-6-4, wow, that's a lot of games they've lost, man.
Oh, Foxdrop.
You said it, not me. As we're getting into the Summoner's Rift, as they say,
what do you want to talk about?
I would like to talk about a little bit more about the bot lanes.
Okay, let's do that.
Because I think anytime you see a Draven, it's quite an exciting champion to pick up. Twitch chat, spamming Big Brother, all that lovely business. But outside of that, outside of our friends over in Twitch, I think it's just one of those picks that demands respect and attention. If you're playing against it and you don't go to that lane, there's a good chance Draven will just run over your lane opponent. And likewise, if you're playing with the Draven, you know that is a lane that's always going to have some measure of either kill pressure or just general pressure that you can then play around. So for example, if you want to go for, let's say Kold invades the bot side jungle, there's a good chance that your bot lane will be there to back you up if you want to make that aggressive play. So it opens up a lot of the bot side of the map if you are Origen here, and whereas Kold hasn't picked the most aggressive of jungle champions in that Nunu, it's still somewhere that he's going to be looking to try and influence, maybe a lane gank down bot lane as well.
With the biggest ever snowball.
That massive snowball.
Oh, talking about that pressure in the bottom lane, though, it's good to see Heaq going for the Corrupting Potion. Knows he's probably going to take quite a bit of poke, and also has the Arcane Comment, so I expect to see him spamming up those... Well,
that's the only way he can win this lane, right? Is like, you're not going to go toe-to-toe with Draven, so if you can poke him, get a bit of damage down that way, then yeah, maybe. Maybe you can actually have a bit of a fighting chance, and maybe some things can happen, but really it's just Morgana, or Alistar into Morgana. Blind picking this Alistar is very risky when, man, I'm just not looking forward to seeing what's going to happen to Heaq and Wadid in this lane phase. If they come out of this lane phase relatively equal, then that's fine. That we
if they come out of this lane phase relatively equal, I think we're in a different dimension. Okay,
well,
Heaq has consistently struggled in the laning phase. I think he averages about 15 to 20 farm behind, negative 20.7 CSD at 15, and he's playing into a bad matchup. Like that would be. It would be just alternate dimension Heaq.
I mean, already we're seeing, they're pushed under their tower. Heaq's having to farm under CS under tower. Patrik is, I mean, if you can see that little Draven ahead on your minimap, he's genuinely like sometimes moving literally under the tower just to throw out some axes on the opponent's there. Like, it's so much pressure coming through here, and that puts so much strain on the junglers as well. Kikis especially is going to really look to see, okay, do I help these guys? Can I help these guys?
That's the question,
or
right?
If
he thinks, I can't help these guys, you're looking probably at mid lane because of the gank potential with Zoe. Maybe at top with Sylas, you have got the abscond. You've got good gank set up at least.
And once we reach level 6, this is something which we didn't touch upon much, but was a heavy criticism of the Sylas pick against...
Kikis might secures the big Razor Beak there. Kold was coming in with the biggest ever snowball.
I mean, those mini chickens still get you about 60 gold. There's a lot of them. So that is a decent takeaway from Kold. as we were mentioning with the ultimate from Sylas here, is he can steal a lot of good ultis on the side of Origen. Mostly in Mithy.
Oh no, Wadid's almost dead.
I mean,
Night ticking, yeah,
and
that's
it's under
disgusting.
tower,
What do you do
What can you
against
do?
it?
Like,
I mean,
if you're Kikis and you say to your team, just play safer, Wadid then says, buddy, look where I am.
see, this is the thing, right? You're the jungler in solo queue, and I'm the support in solo queue. And I'm the guy that goes 0-4 under tower, and like everyone spam pings me, question mark, question mark, question mark. It's like, what are you doing, mate? What are you doing? It's like, well, I'm playing Alistar into a Morgana and a Draven, so I'm not really expected to do anything here.
No, but as they say, better jungler wins, so it's still my fault. But this is it, is where, you know, that's flash gone right there. So if you want to dive this bot lane before we get level 6, Nunu will be kind of tanky, and in order to execute dives, you want someone who can tank the tower. You don't want to dive to the tower, obviously, and towers are pretty scary early on. So if you do want to roam down there, maybe Nukeduck gets down there, maybe, you know, Kold as well when he gets tanky. If he gets that Balmy Syndra or something like that, he's going to get a shield when he casts his ult as well. You know, there are lots of scenarios where you can set up a bot side dive for Origen here. I mean, already Rogue is bleeding pressure in that side of the map, and it really comes down to, you know, man, I don't know. It's really tough for that bot lane.
It's great for Origen. They're in a very strong position. Yes, not a huge CS differential in that bottom lane, but they will be able to gain that back. You can see mid lane there's actually about 10 to 15 CS fluctuating there as well, as Nukeduck just continually pushes Sencux back. Sencux doesn't really have the clear that he would like early doors on the Zoe.
I think what's quite maybe surprising for me as someone, I played a butt ton of Sylas, but I play him jungle.
Okay.
It's really fun. And I did say that this might be a hard matchup for Sylas, playing against that Urgot. We've already seen it struggle immensely versus a Jace. But Prophet has consistently had the push in his top side, and you know the CS is relatively
even
equal.
enough, yeah.
We'll say it's pretty much equal. But when you're able to get that push in, you know Sylas does have AoE on his Q, which hits twice. He has AoE on his passive, which goes off all of your abilities. Like you do have very good wave clear. Like you are good at doing that. And so if he's able to push consistently, then he is in a good spot to, you know, for Kikis to then go to the top side of the map. And if you can steal Alphari's ult as well, one of my favorite ults in the game to steal is that Urgot ulti.
Oh, it must be fun using it on Urgot.
Yeah,
as well.
legit.
It's
You
like,
fire it out at someone. I mean, they get down to like 20% health and they just die, you know? It's really fun.
Kikis is looking for that top lane gank, about a level behind Kold because of the inability of him to actually get in and counter jungle. Kold's doing a pretty good job counter jungling himself. I wanted to talk about Prophet having the grasp of the Undying. We talked about the possibility of an aftershock, but grasp, we see this quite often as well on Sylas's. Just keeps you topped up, keeps you healthy, especially in the lane where you know you're going to take some poke because the Urgot with his shotgun knees will always poke you out just a little bit.
Definitely in that, you know, Grasp and Undying gives you a little bit extra there. It's very nice on melee champions anyway to just help them with that whole lane situation. Interesting, you pointed out the primary keystone here. I want to talk a bit about his secondary runes where he's gone for inspiration. Having this stopwatch, I feel like the secondary rune is pretty situational on Sylas, but having stopwatch is really good because if you want to steal the Morgana ulti, you've got Zonius to do that now with. So being able to steal Morgana ult and have that stopwatch later on for those kind of mid-game team fights is actually really
makes
nice.
a huge amount of sense, yeah. And the ability to get in with the abscond abduct as well, the E. You dash forward and then you can chuck your chains out and jump into that back line.
Absolutely.
Definitely work out for them. So across the board, a relatively slow early game, but Origen are sticking to their game plan. We talked about how they want a pushing bot. They've got a pushing mid as well with the Syndra into Zoe matchup, and because of that, Kold can look for these invades.
I mean, it's literally exactly what I said. If Kold wants to invade the blue buff, his bot lane is going to be able to help him.
It's as if you're a jungle main
it's almost
and
as
an
if
analyst.
I know what I'm talking about.
Good
Let's
stuff,
not go that far, though.
Nah,
that's a bit extreme.
I think as soon as you said that, people knew it. We were being sarcastic.
Yeah, so. just chatting rubbish, really. But hey, that's what I'm here to do. So, welcome aboard.
Welcome to the club. Okay, so what's the next game plan, right? Origen have the pressure in the bottom lane. They've got about 15, 16 CS lead, but they haven't got that kill yet. And now we're starting to see Heaq and Wadid get up towards that level 6 mark where they can be a little bit more aggressive. Patrik stepping forward, Mithy looking for the binding, will connect. Patrik sees one more spell, immune, whirling death. Heaq flashes it. And I thought for a moment that Patrik had secured the kill, but couldn't quite get it.
But it's the same thing, you know. Yes, they don't get the kill, so they don't get the cash in, but Heaq now has to go back with a whole winning wave under his tower, and might even lose the next one as well. And it's just like, you know, if Origen can keep doing this thing, this is Kold's dream right here. Like he's not even having to directly influence this lane at all. And you're thinking, you know, this is going to soon translate into dragon plays for Origen as well. And if they want to go for that first blood tower, if they end up picking the Herald or something like that, if you just run that down bot, it's like for Origen, they don't really have to change anything right now because what they're doing is totally working.
This is what we've seen them do in the past as well. They tend to like the slower, methodical early game with winning lanes, and then they get caught out. Someone will just get caught and die. They'll give up an objective, and then that's where we start to see Origen sort of bleed out and lose the game. So Rogue do still have these opportunities. They're only like 200 gold behind. Like the game is nowhere near over. The question is, can they stop Origen from making that next play?
Right, and this is going to be undeniably the hardest part of the game for Rogue. So if you are a little bit behind early on, I mean, we're talking almost as if Rogue is down and out.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And this is the part where they're meant to be struggling. So as far as they're concerned, it's whatever, you know? Like, they're not too bad about this. They're not too upset about this.
Blue buff resets as well. We can see Kikis. Kold plays towards the bottom side of the map. Kikis plays towards the top side of the map. Sylas pushing in the Urgot. Maybe not exactly what we expected. We thought maybe a bit harder lane for the Sylas, but Prophet's doing a very good job, and Sencux can help Kikis secure this blue. And although they're behind in terms of CS, as we said, gold pretty even. A couple of turret platings falling. Patrik and Mithy will get another one down here towards the bottom side. So that is a bit more gold in the Draven pocket, but if he dies before he can cash in, you lose out on a lot of what this early pressure is meant to gain.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I think the longer this game goes on, the more Origen's going to want to set up a play in that bot side. Don't forget as well, there's no heal in bot lane either. So their ability to survive is quite limited. We did see that as a level 1 play in the previous game, Splice into SK. I believe that was the first game, maybe it was the second game, can't remember.
Second game.
Yeah, but one of the games...
Good. You're right.
Okay, cool. I'm not...
Sorry.
Believe
in yourself, Foxdrop.
Every point that I built up to me saying I know what I'm talking about, just lost it all.
No, I still believe in you.
Well, that's very kind of you. That makes one of us.
I think the crowd still believes in you as well.
Does the crowd believe in me? Generous.
I mean, we kind of baited them into it. If they hadn't said anything,
if you'd said,
you'd have a lot of like angry looks over you in a second.
See, the crowd thinks you're silly, don't they?
Oh no, see, nowhere near as much. Nowhere near as much.
It's not bad though.
They love me here in Berlin.
Okay.
700 gold lead for Origen. Still this push in from Patrik and Mithy in the bottom lane. Maybe there's an opportunity for Kikis to do something down towards this bottom side. But look at the river control. Look at that vision control from Origen. Holy smokes. 4 control wards. Well, if you didn't know where Origen were playing before, they've highlighted it for you incredibly well.
100. This is it. You know, Origen are just leveraging the pressure that they've got in the spot side of the map, and it's working very well for them. Alphari swapped out from his TP to... Sorry, he swapped out one of his summoners for with the unsealed spellbook. He's got that ghost now. I would like to see whether or not... Oh, he's actually popping it here.
Here we go. Goes in. Looking for the chase. Prophet. Get some damage down with the chain rash. Shotgun knees comes out. Alphari looking for the ultimate. Vivian connects. He's pulled into the meat grinder. And first blood comes at 11 minutes 20 seconds. Officially the longest first blood of this split.
Wow, there it is. We're setting records left, right, and center today in the LEC. I was just about to fumble my way around saying that Alphari swapped out both his summoners here for the Ghost and the Ignite, which are both superior summoner spells if he wants to go for that solo play. And what do you know, 10 seconds later, Prophet is down. Prophet has had the pressure in the same way. He's been pushing and playing Alphari under his tower. Alphari has not lost any minions there.
Heaq's going in was spotted out by the sweeper. The Oracle's alteration there from Kold. Of course, you can't target someone, but you see that red outline, you know they're there.
You know they're there, so you can play and react accordingly. And here it is. We're going to see the solo kill once again. Prophet's not really expecting this, and there is an Ignite and a Ghost here. So if the Ghost gets popped immediately, it's really good for a champion like Urgot, who just wants to stick onto you and run at you and just like gun you down. Really good at doing that. And then when you have the Ignite, Fear Beyond Death, easy peasy lemon squeezy, he's gobbled up to first blood, plus 400 gold into the pocket of Alphari. And this is going to be a big swing into that top lane, where previously Prophet was constantly pushing. It should be now Alphari doing the pushing.
And you can see Origen actually bringing all 5 members up towards this fight. Wadid there on the front line, but Rogue maybe trying to collapse from both sides. Rift Herald going down, the smite comes out. It's on the way by Kikis, now the fight erupts. Wadid jumps onto the back line, Patrik forced away. Kold there on the front line as well, but Wadid is just going to try and get away from this one. Rogue pops the stopwatch, but soon enough he will be not long for Summoner's Rift. He's down, Origen get 2 kills, they lose the Rift Herald, and I believe it was picked up as well by Rogue.
Rogue gets that Rift Herald and sacrifices 2 players for it. If we were perhaps 10 or 15 minutes later into this game, perhaps Rogue would have won that team fight when their champions had hit those item power spikes. But as it stands, not going to be able to win that one. And here we're going to see it again, just a really nice smite steal from Kikis, but too early from Kold. But this really begs the question, you're playing Nunu. That is unforgivable to lose a smite fight when you're playing Nunu when you have to consume as well. And like I mentioned, at this point, Rogue just don't really have the iron power spikes to make this play. Specifically looking at that bot lane, if you're comparing the Draven and the Varus just in the pure 1v1, just a 1-to-1, sorry, comparison. Obviously that, you know, you're going to come out on top with that Draven. And something that I do want to quickly point out though, oh, okay, no, we're good. I thought that was going to be a bit spicy if it wasn't. This could be a gang coming into the top lane though.
Here we go. Kikis there as well as Wadid. Alphari. Yeah, it's not really going to be able to go too many places. Stunned up, lockdown. First kill of the game for Rogue. They get the shutdown on towards the Urgot.
They're going to lose the first bar tower here because bot lane only has one plate. But a tower plate is actually worth more than first bar tower anyway. So it's actually not that much. You get 150 from killing first bar tower, and you get 160 for killing plates.
Yep.
So it's actually not that bad if they put this hair on top. Sadly, they're about 10 seconds too late in order for them to actually get all of the plates there. But they still got some, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm just checking to make sure they actually got any. I think the turret plating falls off as Herald charges,
it's
so they've got no plates out of it,
like,
which is a big shame for Rogue, of course. But 2,500 gold down now, Rogue, a little bit in the hole. Yeah. Interesting, important to note as well, Patrik cashed in. He got about 700 gold or so on that Draven now, so he's in a very strong position with the Bloodthirster, with the second BF sword as well. And you have to think Origen played the early game almost exactly like they wanted to. They opened up the map by taking out the bottom lane tower, and now they can just start moving around the rift. It looks like Nukeduck is going to be in this bottom side, Alphari in the top, and the other three members of Origen will just play around mid.
And Rogue haven't really been able to do much of anything in this game. I think, honestly, you can copy-paste that statement into
a lot of games,
a lot of the games that they've played. But right now, I'm really just looking to see Sencux specifically, see what he's able to do, because he's picked that Zoe. He's been doing fine in the 1v1. I mean, he's a little bit of CS down, but he's had some pressure with that invade into the enemy blue buff. Like, he's been able to do a few things. But really for Zoe, you're looking to get those sleepy bubble troubles. It might be a situation like in the previous game when you had Humanoid playing LeBlanc, who was able to get those pokes down and then set up for these mid-game team fights. I think as it goes right now, Rogue are really playing towards that playstyle, which is also, you know, I guess it's point after, because Kikis is going to take it.
Smite. That's how you secure a blue buff. Steals it away.
It's better than Alphari's attack, at least.
Well, he could have switched to Smite on the summer server. We have seen that quite a few times.
Wouldn't be the first time. But just quickly to finish off my point, if we're looking at the itemization of Heaq as well, he's going for the lethality build, which for Varus means that he is way more interested in poking than doing that sustained damage, and he's also maxing his Q. So again, all poke coming through here. Sencux as well, obviously being Zoe, disgusting champion, is also going to be poking people out.
Yeah.
So that's really what Rogue are looking for. And you know, it doesn't matter if you're not very good in team fights. If you can chunk someone down like 20% health before the team fight starts, hey, you're sorted.
It's what we said in Picks and Bans. Their composition is poke, pick someone off, steal the Urgot ult, and then just spam that out at people as well.
That's very true.
It can work, but Origen have shown us after they get over their sort of mid-game dying woes, where they die too much in the early mid-game, they're actually a relatively good team-fighting team. They're relatively good at forcing the opponents into bad positions. You can see once again they've advanced their vision line up into the Rogue blue side jungle, and then they come over here and clear out this vision as well. And it actually makes it really hard for Rogue to poke, because if you can't see your opponents, how are you meant to poke them down?
And the thing is as well, it's not only can you not see your opponents.
No, you cannot see your opponents. Yeah,
whatever.
Okay.
Not only can you
not see your opponents.
That's a bit better. It's almost like I'm English. But they can see you, because they've put vision down. At some point, they will put vision down deeper into the enemy jungle, and then suddenly when you walk into your jungle and you look for those opportunities to poke, you're going to be revealed, and then that's when you start getting quite out of position, and when it's a lot harder for you to do those things. And
is this a dead Nukeduck? With the ignite, he would have got it! Oh, Polo jumps forward for the ignite. Zoe is a disgusting champion, I think, were your words, Foxdrop, and I think Sencux proved it.
It's just...
yeah?
Whatever. Don't get me started. I'm not talking about that.
Okay, we won't talk about Zoe this game. We've had enough Zoe, vile Zoe discussions in the past on the LEC. Sylas still a little bit behind in the top lane, about 30 farm down or so. Alphari actually having a good game, one of the few he's had this split. Usually, it's actually struggled quite a bit. Whirling Death comes out, we're going to follow it. I think something we don't notice often enough is how good the observers actually are at the LEC. Like, the ability to do things like that. Are we going to get a replay of the Whirling Death? Okay, no, the kill. The kill is more important, I'll admit that.
Well, so this is where Sencux picks up a flash to land a Sleepy Bubble Trouble, and then picks up an Ignite. And then just Just does Zoe things.
Yeah, that's Zoe stuff. That's Zoe
yeah,
stuff.
just the Zoe stuff, really. I think it's a kill in League of Legends, and we're going to move on.
I'm just going to jump in here, straight onto Sylas. Got the route across the wall on that ward, and Patrik can just get the chase out. Prophet pops out the Whirling Death, but only spells his own demise. Patrik with his second kill of the game, and that Draven is looking mighty strong.
Sylas hasn't really been able to get rolling just yet, and we'll have to see what he can do in the team fights, because right now it's not happening, but in the mid lane...
Sencux tanking up the tower, Mithy here as well. Kold, just going to fight against Sencux for the moment. We did trying to distract. Kikis on his way, but here comes Patrik. Kikis jumps straight onto him. The Syndra's coming down from the top side of the fight, but already Mithy so low. One kill on each side. Kikis jumps onto the back line, gets Mithy as well. Alphari, though, getting onto Heaq, and Wadid knocked back into the tower. Wadid looks for the stun. Heaq caught out, brought back into the meat grinder. And Origen will come out with 3 kills to 2.
This Urgot was a first pick, remember, as well. This is what happens in the meta right now, where you're picking your poison and you're saying, okay, which OP do we want to play against? In this game, it's the Urgot. It was the very first pick of the game, which means that Rogue had all the tools to deal with him if they wanted to, and he's still able to do this. So credit to Alphari and the balanced team.
Definitely.
For
I think we'll just give the credit to Alphari, because anyone can pick Urgot. Anyone can pick Urgot. Let's have another look at this fight up towards the top side, because what Prophet doesn't realize is he's standing on a ward.
He is standing on a ward, and you know, he's very squishy. Unlike a lot of top laners that you're seeing in the meta, you know, like the Scions or the Urgots, that is a very squishy Sylas. He's going to be building mostly AP, so you know, you are pretty vulnerable. And then we rotate into the mid lane as well. Something that Sencux almost gets away with here is he uses portal jump to drop the tower aggro, which means that he almost gets away from this one. Sadly, it's not to be. And whereas Kikis, if you keep your eyes on him right here, he's evolved his wings at level 11, so he has these leaps, he has those resets, which in skirmishes like this, if you can find those mop-up plays, the clean-up duty, then you can do it, and you're all good, and you can pick up a few kills, and this is the biggest reason why Rogue was able to get a few kills in that play. But, you know, as far as it goes, not able to get too much, and Origen come out on top.
Yeah, Origen definitely on top. Double Mountain and an Ocean in their back pockets now. 20 minutes into the game, they're about 4,000 gold ahead. They broke that mid lane tower while we were watching the replay as well, so in a very strong position all around, and you have to think, next up, get vision, go for the Baron. They don't really have a huge amount of range on their team, so it would be quite hard to siege towers, although you do have the poke coming out from the Syndra, of course.
And it's something where you're going to want to look for a catch before you go for the Baron, at least unless you can sneak it away, because you do not want to try a Baron play versus the poke of Rogue. Like that, it suddenly becomes a lot scarier than if you were to do it against a different team comp, because those paddle stars and the Varus arrows, man, they hurt.
Oh, Alphari's going to get the chase onto Kikis here, but Wadid just left to the wolves by his team. Both Sencux and Kikis ran away, and Wadid pops the ultimate, but not really much he can do to survive in that case. Nukeduck gets the kill. Prophet will get bot lane tower, but you have to feel it's a mere morsel of consolidation.
Well, kill for tower is not too bad by itself.
Yeah, but now you get Baron vision. It's
You
top
can do-
side of the map versus
Yeah, sure,
bot side of the map.
Of course, so you can set up the Baron vision and stuff like that, that's nice. But, you know, I'm being an optimist for Rogue here.
Okay, let's be an optimist.
We'll be an optimist for Rogue, because I don't want it... You know, we are 20 minutes into this game, and Origen are in the driver's seat, and Rogue have yet to pick up their first win in the LEC. A lot of people will be writing Rogue off for this game. But I think, you know, right now, there are still ways that Rogue can get back in. We've talked a lot about the poke,
Okay.
and I don't want to sound like we're just kind of, you know, that's all we're talking about because that's all Rogue has.
But if that's their win condition.
That is all they have. So that's all we're talking about. You know, Rogue really needs to be able to set themselves up in positions where they can get those pokes down and then set up for more favorable team fights. But Origen here, they are sneaking the Baron away.
Now this is where the poke can begin, right?
Exactly.
You can poke into the pit, but Kold, of course, with the consume on the Nunu, relatively tanky. Baron resets, sleep lands, sleepy trouble bubble onto Patrik. Not going to be able to do too much more with it. Redemption comes out as well. Sencux actually, they've just disengaged. They don't want to fight it. They're going to give up the Baron. Origen secure it. 23 minutes in, they'll take it.
Why?
And with it, a monumental lead in this game. Why is the question? I think why indeed.
I'm slightly skeptical of that, personally. These are professional players.
They are.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They know more than me. But, having said that, I think when you do have the poker Zoe, you do have Varus as well. There's TPs up on Sylas and on Heaq. They could have been there. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you want to go for at least a smite still, that is very difficult versus Nunu. But I think it's already happened once this game with the Herald.
Exactly, right.
But, you know, I don't know. I feel like, considering what this Baron does, Baron versus poke teams is really, really powerful, because suddenly it becomes a lot harder to wave clear with the arrows and to wave clear with the paddle stars. and you don't really, you can then like split push and stuff like that as well, and poke doesn't work too well when you're kind of diversifying the threats on the map. So it becomes a lot harder for Rogue to now deal with what Origen's going to be throwing at them, and they were already struggling with it. So you know what, I don't want to call them out too much on it, but I think that this is now going to be a point in the game where Origen's really going to look to put the nail in the coffin of Rogue.
They definitely should try to. Rogue have started to get some of those items in, though. You've got Duskblade finished on Kikis. He's 3-0-3, doing a relatively good job, building up towards either a Yumu's or the Edge of Night next. Looks like it's going to be the Yumu's with the Serrated Dirk and the Corfield's Warhammer. You've got double lethality on Heaq, so his poke's going to be doing quite a bit as well. The Luden's Echo finished on Sencux, building up towards a Morellonomicon. Morellonomicon.
That is the benefit if you're going for a full lethality build on the Varus, is if you do itemize into Edge of Night, it helps with the fact that you don't have much protection around you, so you will have that spell shield, which might, you know, help you out a little bit. As Origen are sieging in the top side here, just going to take that tower. Alphari in the mid lane as well. Looks like this Baron buff might be able to do a little bit more with it, but as far as Rogue's concerned, they're holding on. It's only got a minute and a half left.
I mean, Rogue are a little bit split here, right? Kikis is behind Origen, and they know he's there because he cleared out a pink ward, so this tower's pretty much gone. Maybe they'll look for a play afterwards if they can land the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, which they do. Don't get connect with the paddle, sir. Sencux decided not to take the portal jump, but once again, Kikis walks over a ward, and it's something Origen have done so well this game that we highlighted early on. They set up the vision before they try and make the play, right? So they got total control of that red side before they went to get that tower.
A really good article on lolesports by a veteran.
Former H2K coach?
Yep, former H2K coach, fellow Brit, who said that Origen's a good team, they just lack strategy. And I think this game, it sounds like Origen have done a lot better on that front. I think Rogue maybe, you know, it's tough to not say these things about the 0-16, but perhaps Rogue have given it to them a tad easy.
Yeah, but you have to play to your opponents.
Exactly, and I think Origen, you know, this game has looked like very controlled, and I think that is something that Origen has been lacking. Personally, I think that they've just looked a little bit hit and miss.
Yep.
And in this game, I guess in a miss.
It's definitely a hit from them.
I say huh.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't really get what you were going for there, Foxdrop.
You gotta keep up with your memes, bro.
I'm not very good at memes. I make them, I put them up on Twitter, but I don't. All I've got is like,
you have a ghost, right?
Let's get that bread.
Yeet.
No, I do not ghost write my memes. I know some people, some casters, maybe part of a duo that starts with Medi. They get ghost written.
Yeah. He's ill. He's not here. He can't defend himself. He can't say that.
Hey, I live with a guy. Okay, if he's coughing in my bedroom, I can flame him.
All right.
That's how it works.
As the famous saying goes.
Yeah, incredibly famous saying. But Rogue do get a mid lane tower. A 7,000 gold lead still for Origen. You can see it's just been a steady rise, right? This is the methodical macro-based play that we expected from Rogue when they came into the split. And maybe the adaptations that Andre talked about before the game, the better work-life balance, the adaptations to traveling, are actually starting to have a good effect for Origen, because this looks like a much stronger team than the team we saw last one.
This is why it can be so hard to kind of just break down and analyze teams, because there's so much going on behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Even just lifestyle stuff, like Andre was mentioning. It's like, when you ask him about playoffs, 90% of what he was saying was nothing to do with Summer's Rift.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where it's like, it's important, you know, you've got to look after yourself and you've got to look after the people on your squad. And it's just, you know, if you're sitting at home, posture, sit upright, drink some water.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
LEC has been on for 3 hours now. You should have drunk 350 milliliters of water. Stay hydrated.
Are you chatting rubbish, or is that true? Are you chatting? I mean, you're a doctor, but I trust you.
A lot of streamers have a stay hydrated bot.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Yeah, I thought you did.
I didn't even put it in there myself. I just found its way in there.
8 glasses of water per day is the average. About 2 liters for a normal human. I drink about 3.5.
Because you're.
So I'm an uber human, obviously. Yeah.
Okay.
Just need the extra water.
Yeah.
No, maybe not. Maybe not.
Well, that's fine. If you want to say that, that's fine. The Kikis is waiting for someone in the bush here. That is like the last person he wants to see is an Alphari to face check him. If it gets a little bit, you know, cheeky and maybe he finds Patrik or Nukeduck or even Mithy, you know, maybe he gets a summoner there. And to be honest, when you're in a game like this, Kikis is a good jungler. We were talking about before, you know, top 3 last split. arguably, and you know he's using his pick. He's trying to leverage that pick that he's got to try and just make something happen.
Yeah, but no one's coming to answer it, right? They're all just bounding down mid. Origen's like, okay, we've had enough of this. Baron's up in 20 seconds. We can try and break an inhibitor even before that because we know Kikis is down towards the bottom side, as is Prophet. Wanted to get the Demolish proc off on that tower, couldn't quite get it, but now they'll go back, they'll reset the vision around this Baron. You can see the pings coming out on it already.
Yeah, and this is it. This is it was hard enough for Rogue to do with this the first time, and if this goes down for a second time here, when Origen...
Kikis is dead, so no real chance of a smite speed still anymore.
That's going to close the book on the Baron story right there. That's it. You know, like Kikis has to look for these kind of things because he knows his team isn't going to win unless he does that, or perhaps that's the desperation that he's feeling. You know, and he wants to take the you know, just like the proactivity and that the onus that he's putting on himself to carry the team, and I think, you know, in this situation, obviously, you know, that's the downside, right, when you do those kind of things. But hey, Origen with the Baron, looking scary.
Yeah, really interesting rotation here from Rogue. They all went down towards where the Dragon would be, maybe looking for a catch, but it just means that they have to teleport back to stop Origen pushing in their base with the Baron buff. So that's the inhibitor tower down in the mid. This is going to be top follow shortly after. Origen will get that inhib. They'll look for their second as well, and 29 minutes into the game, very much closing out this matchup, you have to feel. Origen looking for their third win of the LEC, and maybe a route to winning ways.
Just painting by numbers at this point, Medic.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Just.
Did you ever do that as a child? I never really had a paint by numbers kit.
I don't think I did. Maybe I did.
You got little pots of paint with it, I think.
Just yell and ask him. Thumbs up. Did I used to do that as a kid? Yes or no?
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down in the audience.
This is why we bring him here, obviously, for these moments. Very vitally important to the broadcast.
And learning more about Foxdrop is my passion.
Is it? What is graphic design? Like that's Trevor's passion?
That's quick shot, yeah.
Yeah, he's good at that. In a terrible way.
Yeah, good is not the word I choose, but okay, so Rogue. They got a little bit of vision around this Mounted Dragon. It's since been cleared out. There's about 30 seconds on it. Maybe they can find a fight. Maybe we can see, you know, Sylas do something in this game. Because you've got 3 items now. You've got 2.5 items on Zoe as well.
And this is a nice core build as well for the Sylas specifically, because he's getting a chunk of health from the Proto Belt plus the Morellos.
Oh, Kickers.
Wow.
He got caught out.
He's
Pops the ultimate.
again.
Flashed away. And
yeah,
that's a thumbs down play from Kikis.
That is a thumbs down. It's the same thing. He's just trying to do it. He's just... He's looking to find the straggler, to find the lazy player who's not respecting him, who's kind of gone a little bit asleep, just like Alphari has there, and, you know, it's just out of position. But he's not finding it, instead he's just finding death.
Wadid jumps onto Nukeduck on the back line. Prophet and Alphari trading blows, trading ultimates as well. Kold's chasing Sencux up towards the top side of the map, but now Heaq forced down, lands the piercing arrow, but an axe lands straight in his skull. He's done. Prophet chased off by Mithy as well. The ignite into Soul Shackle should be enough. And already Origen are looking at the Nexus towers. Easy enough secure for them. 31 minutes in, they did it by the numbers, but it's definitely a thumbs up game for Origen. They will take their third win of the LEC and go back to winning ways. Good stuff all around from Origen, of course, to be able to take down the Nexus. They'll dive the fountain for just a moment longer to make me keep talking. And there it goes. Origen 3 and 4 in the LEC.
Slow, patient, very intelligent game from Origen there. Not overstepping their mark in any way, taking it to Rogue. And really it looked like they were in control for most of that game. And, you know, Origen high expectations for this squad. Haven't quite been able to deliver, sitting at 2 and 4 prior to this game. And as you mentioned, this might kickstart them back into the winning ways.
That's the hope, right? Look, the reason I say that is not because they beat Rogue. It's because of the way they beat Rogue, right? It was a lot more methodical. They played to their win conditions in the early game. They didn't die a ton, which is what they usually do. And then they just painted it by the numbers. They took us on an artistic journey across Summoner's Rift.
Yeah,
they Bob Rossed it. That's what they did.
They did, definitely Bob Ross it. I'd say it wasn't particularly a masterpiece.
Yeah, but there were some happy little clouds.
There were definitely some happy little clouds. Doing that thing where you flick your wrist and suddenly there's a stone. Oh, no, you do that, it's magic right there. But, you know, for Origen, this is one of those seasons where you've got to find some momentum. Momentum is huge. It's really understated about how this can influence things and the mental aspect of the game. And if just looking at the Origen players coming through to the handshake line here, Kold and Nukeduck, they're smiling, they're joking around, and it's like, it's important. You've got to have a positive mental. You've got to, you're just like, you've got to, even Barney's smiling on the backside there, what a legend. You know, before you can achieve, you need to believe you can achieve. And it's hard to do that when you're getting put in the dumpster by teams in the LEC.
You can definitely do miracles when you believe. And Origen, not miraculous for them to make playoffs. Of course, if they want to look at top 4, top 3, then I think even more change needs to occur for them. But that doesn't seem to be the goal of the organization. When I talked to Andre, when we talked to Deficio in the past, it's been playoffs in first place. If we make playoffs, we're happy. That's where we want to be.
Well, I think not everyone can be a Schalke where you whip together almost an entirely new roster and suddenly you're one of the best teams in the league. I think realistic expectations for a lot of these squads who have kind of blown up their rosters and started something fresh is, it takes time to gel, and you got to find your stride. Mithy has spent the last year on vacation, playing in the LCS, and so coming back into EU, he's got it's all looking like that. He's got whatever. Take it away.
You're right. I'm not allowed to say things like that.
Oh, well, I can.
You can.
Because I'm not here all the time, so I get away with it.
That is true. We're going to have a look at some highlights from Origen's win. A strong win it was, of course. Rogue sitting at 0-7 won't be the happiest of campers, but they were probably happy about this play. Good smite secure from Kikis.
Yeah, and to be honest, early on into the game, Rogue didn't look too shabby at all. A bit sad whenever you're losing a smite fight as a Nunu, but this, 2 players going down for Rogue, but getting that Rift held wasn't too bad. Sadly, though, I don't know whether we'll see the Rift Held play later on. We probably won't, because it was a bit of a low light and a highlight. Yeah. But it's like 2 seconds too late. They would have got like 500 gold for that. Like, it's almost like getting 2 kills.
And this is the point where we're talking about vision, right? You have no vision
exactly
in your own jungle. You have to face check into a Syndra, which is never easy.
Yeah, and it's just, Kikis did a lot of that where he was trying. I don't really want to put the blame on squarely on his shoulders, because even though these plays didn't look great and just got caught out, there's almost a sense of I don't know if desperation is the right word, because that feels kind of harsh, but there is that sense of, I've got to do something here. But either it works or it doesn't.
Yeah, I see nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with saying desperation, because we've all had those solo queue games where you're like, okay, we're 0-5, we have to do something, otherwise we just lose the game. You have to make a play, and something like 10 times out of 11 it doesn't work, and then that one time it actually works and you win the game for your team.
Yeah, I mean, if he just sat in his Arsenal game, then he would have lost anyway. So.
Exactly. If you saw a performance that stood out, be sure to give us your key player of the game at lolesports on Twitter. Alphari, Nukeduck, and Patrik are your options. I really think Alphari stood up. Like, he had a very good Urgot performance into Sylas, which is a strange matchup, one, but he hasn't practiced too much probably as well. So you have to think he did.
He did get that solo kill, and I think they put a lot of eggs in his basket, and he rewarded his team for it.
He definitely did. Well, for more on Origen's win, let's check in with QuickShot and their support.
Thank you very much, Medic. I am joined by Mithy. First of all, congratulations on the win. Personal note, really happy to have you back in EU playing.
Thank you.
When you walked over after the game, I was expecting more smiles and happiness. Why are you not as celebratory after taking down Rogue?
I mean, I'm happy, but I'm not celebrating. I was kind of celebratory in-game, but I knew 20 minutes into the game that we had it in the bag. So, yeah, League is a slow game. So I just, like, once we won, I already knew we had won. So, yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Let's talk a little bit about, the season overall. There's been some ups and downs. I think one of the things that I'm personally very interested in is that Origen have tried very different team comps more frequently than many other teams. Is this something just for stage practice, or is this because you guys have such big, champion pools and you're trying different strategies?
I don't think it's either or. It's just mostly we're trying to figure how our team works and what champs work for us and what we want to play. We're a very new team, and I think that's really how it should be. Some teams came in strong the first few weeks, but then they are not having such an easy time now, and you want to try and play the long con, and that's what we're trying to do. And yeah, it might not work, but this is our way of dealing with this.
Interesting word choice. The long con, not the long game. We'll talk about that one later. Let's talk a little bit about Patrik. The last time you joined the big stage, you made an AD carry change his name, and he went on to be one of the most famous AD carries on the planet. How are you helping Patrik now, settling in on stage and developing as the youngest member of the roster?
I just do what I normally do with, regardless of who I'm playing with. It's really up to him to improve, not really up to me. And he's a great player, so he's just gonna get better and better. Right now, the most important thing for him is to get smarter about the game, because he already has really fucking good mechanics. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, fair play, right? So the potential's there, it's the consistency.
Yeah.
Look, congratulations on the win. We've been talking a lot about Origen, obviously, so I'm looking forward to see how you end the split. Before we go to the ad break, one question. XL are taking on Fnatic in the next game. Both teams looking for a win. XL arguably looking better than Fnatic. Who's going to win the game, and how will they win it?
Well, I don't really care who wins, but I'm rooting for my boy Expect. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Expect is going to win. Well, there we go. Crowd cheers here for XL. Mithy, congratulations. Thank you so much for chatting to me. I believe we actually have Expect's Baron Steal as we go to break. When we come back, XL take